Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet podcast. I am your host and resident panelist, as always, Ryan Schlipp. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, today I'm going to do sort of a live-ish cut down. This will be a very chopped up thing for me today, but as news comes in, we'll talk about it. And the first of the first has already dropped, and it is the funniest possible thing that could have ever happened. My big prediction, my only real super weird outside 5%er, was the first cut. Via Ryan Wood, Packers are releasing offensive lineman Trey Hill, per source. A lot more cuts coming today as NFL teams trim their roster to 53, he says. Still I don't even know if I want to say decent, but still a chance he ends up making the practice squad. Honestly, at this point, I don't know if it is that good of a chance, because if we're being honest, I think the most likely scenario was always that they were going to keep Monk, and then Lecitus Smith, I think, has been the more popular of the group. He would probably be the practice squad. Not to say that Trey Hill can't also, but there's a lot of other options. So he may just be gone. But we'll see. But I thought that was pretty funny. Pretty funny stuff. Some other interesting news as we wait for more. Las Vegas Raiders are signing 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Amari Cooper to a 1-year deal. Cooper was drafted by the Raiders in the first round of the 2015 NFL Draft, was traded to the Cowboys midway the 2018 season. Lions have released offensive tackle Dan Skipper. Also, a very weird thing via Ari Mirov. I want to try to get on board with this stuff, but it's so far from ironed itself out and become a quality product that it's not great. He says, "This is not good. YouTube TV says it's in a carriage dispute with Fox. They've notified customers they have until Wednesday, August 27th, that would be today for you, to reach a deal. Or subscribers will lose access to Fox stations right before the NFL and college football seasons kick off." It's so funny because I keep getting emails from YouTube TV. Come back. You can watch football with us. So glad I didn't take them up on that offer. This affects Fox, FS1, Big Ten networks, Fox News Channel, and more. I saw somebody share their message they got, and it was like, yeah, we're working on it, but don't worry, we'll give you like a $10 thing if it doesn't work out. Like, what? What else? Ari Mirov, Browns are trading Kenny Pickett to the Raiders for a 5th-round pick. Starting to make me feel a little bit more optimistic. Not that I would want to, but if Malik ever were to get traded, I feel like there's some solid compensation in there because Malik should be worth more than Kenny Pickett. The Vikings are sending Mekhi Blackmon to the Colts for a 2026 6th-round pick, per sources. Commanders signed Terry McLaurin to a 3-year deal, up to $96 million. Trey Hendrickson finally got his deal. It's a 1-year, $30 million deal. It's kind of crazy to me that that's all it took to get that deal done. I don't mean to say that $30 million isn't a lot. What I more so mean is that's such a simple deal. It took this long to figure out that that's a good one, or did somebody just finally compromise on that? Because it is interesting when you think about it. I mean, I guess Hendrickson would have been the one to compromise because I think he wanted the long-term deal and he just didn't get it. The Bengals, I think, always wanted, I think what they wanted fully would have been a long-term deal that gives them control of him over a long term, but gives them the flexibility to get out, and Hendrickson didn't want that. And the compromise was, fine, give me the 1-year deal, and the next year I'm a free agent and I'm done with you. So the Bengals essentially gave up on having him after this year, which of course could always be renegotiated, although I'm sure Hendrickson would probably want to choose a different team. But that just seems like such an easy deal to come to. Raiders wide receiver Jacoby Myers has requested a trade. Joe Mixon, running back for the Texans, will miss at least 4 games. The Texans, I've been saying for a while, and sometimes crazy stuff happens, like the Vikings last year. But C.J. Stroud is not in a good situation. They just lost their running back. Their offensive line situation is horrific. All the talk about Caleb and his poor offensive line, C.J. Stroud has a significantly worse offensive line. And it got even worse this year than it was last year. So that's a bad situation they're in. Rasul Douglas got himself a home, just signing a 1-year deal with the Dolphins. Please, Packer fans, do not start flailing your arms saying, I can't believe we didn't sign him. He has not been a good football player since he was a Packer. Vikings are still trying to track down Adam Thielen. Apparently that's still a thing. I mean, make a trade happen is what they're trying to do. Jerry Rice's kid got let go from the Chargers. That didn't work out very well. Audric Estime was waived. That's kind of interesting. If you remember him from the draft, he carried a good amount of steam as far as people really liking him. And at the very least, I wouldn't have thought he got waived, but apparently it was a pretty stacked room, and he was the odd man out. But I think that about catches us up for what I am aware of so far. Be back with more when I find more. Next up on the list, we got J.J. Lippy and tight end Johnny Lumpkin. Those are two that we had in the cut category. Again, we'll have to see who gets moved over into the practice squad. For now, we'll just assume they all get and stay cut, especially Lumpkin and Lippy. I mean, I shouldn't say especially. I had assumed, and I will continue to assume, that they're staying in the cut category. Bill Huber says Rob Domofsky was first to report defensive tackles Devontae O'Malley and James Esther might wind up on the practice squad. I don't know what that report means. Did they get cut, or are you just randomly bringing up information about something Rob Domofsky said? Because it says Packers released Lippy and Lumpkin. Domofsky was first to report O'Malley and Esther might be on the practice squad. Okay. I don't know. I'll just have to hold off on that. I don't know what that means. Packers are releasing Cornelius Johnson. That one was always relatively obvious. It's just a question of practice squad or not. He was on my final practice squad, although I had 3, and be a little surprised if they ended up keeping 3, so we'll see. Now we got word via Matt Zenitz. The Packers are expected to release linebacker Isaiah Simmons, sources tell CBS Sports. So, again, another one that was debated, but I would say expected. We'll have to wait for official confirmation, but that's probably pretty official. We've also got Matt Pickett collects 53-man rosters here. Could be some interesting. Looks like everybody that got cut so far had 0 people put him on their big board. I would have been the only one with Trey Hill. However, Isaiah Simmons, 33 out of 45 had him on. Wow. Surprises me a little bit. Update on cuts from Andy Herman here. Trey Hill, J.J. Lippy, Lumpkin. So they are saying O'Malley, Tyler Cooper, James Esther, Cornelius Johnson, Isaiah Nayer, and Isaiah Simmons. So I had not seen Nayer yet. Packers have officially released El Guerzma, which is expected. Just a question of practice squad. There's also a ton of speculation on whether the Packers will look outside for that practice squad quarterback. It's one of the reasons why nobody will ever be able to just nail the 53, because there's just so much going outside and all these other things that happen. Packers released running back Tyrion Davis-Price. He was on the cut list. Jets are releasing Malachi Corley at wide receiver. Former Western Kentucky standout was a third-round pick just last year. Giants also, in a surprise cut, are cutting tight end Greg Dulcich. Just a couple more high-profile people to keep an eye on. Packers releasing Brant Banks. It's one of the guys I had on my practice squad. We'll see how that goes. Chiefs taking a unnecessary risk, according to their own guy here, waiving one of their most promising young players. We'll see if it pays off. S.A. Pole is the offensive lineman here. Let's see what happens with that. Colts are releasing Jelani Woods. That was a fun one in the draft. I wanted the Packers to pick up just a massive 6'7" tight end. Health is his issue, though. Packers release Israel Abanikanda, also expected. Oh, and there goes Mecole Hardman. So that was, again, one that I didn't want to do, but kind of felt like it was going to be a thing. So the 2 wild cards, Mecole Hardman and Isaiah Simmons, Packers decided not to indulge. And I think that's ultimately a good thing. I mean, with Simmons, you kind of hope, we can unlock this amazing thing. But at the end of the day, we didn't need them. When you look at how good of a job Hopper and Welch did at linebacker, and then look at the emergence of Matthew Golden, we're not looking at it going, I mean, Hardman's probably the best we got, or is needed, at that number 3 or whatever spot. It's a good situation to be in. Report that Malik Heath has officially made the team. Packers have released Lacita Smith and Amar Johnson. Both of them I had making the practice squad. We'll see how that goes. Julian Hicks released. There is the other receiver, or the second receiver on my practice squad. Packers released Jalen Simpson. Released McNamee. He's for sure going on the practice squad. Chris Brooks has made the 53. So some of this stuff I've already kind of marked in as duh. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, whatever. Chris Brooks was just slightly on that, not quite 100%. So he and Heath right now are the first two that are kind of locked in where there was some level of question. Release Will Shepard. There's my third practice squad guy. Messiah Swinson has been released. Another guy I had on the practice squad. Safety Tyron Herring has been released. My man KJ Hamler was released by the Bills. Packers going to make him a monster. Deslin Alexander was released. Spent a couple seconds contemplating whether he could possibly make the 53. Ultimately, he did not. There's a question now, will he make the practice squad? And if I had to get, let me look at what people did on the 53 thing here. All right, so 0 had Deslin. That surprises me. There's no risk takers out there anymore. What happened to the good old days? Get a little hype about a guy, you don't just slap him on the 53, you bunch of cowards. But I guess what I'm curious about, I would assume most people have him on the practice squad. He was on it last year. He did kind of flash, quote unquote. But what I wonder about is for the Packers' purposes, last year when they put him on the practice squad, he graded out really, really well. This year, at least via PFF, he did not. So I wonder if they look at it and say, again, he's not the flashy new tool necessarily. I mean, it's only year 2. We could maybe give him another year to see how it goes, which is kind of what I'm banking on, especially when you, I think, lead the team in sacks. Kind of made that up, but it feels right. But there is a chance they just go, yeah, we tried it. It didn't really work. Let's try one of the other new, young, flashy pieces. Malik Heath already out here freaking fighting. Rebecca Ortiz, for whatever reason, was not happy to see Mecole Hardman got let go. I'm guessing her 53 got busted or something. She says, when Malik Heath drops that curl route in week 5, come back to me. Malik Heath commented on that and said, when I go crazy, have that same energy. Aniyah Smith was released by the Eagles. There's some people mentioning that he's a bit of a special teams guy. I don't know why, by the way, if you're hearing that kind of background noise when I talk, what exactly that is, but I will work on figuring that out. But Boss points out, punt return option, over 800 punt return yards at Texas A&M, 15.75 yards per return this preseason, including a long of 46 yards. Packers have released impressive rookie linebacker Jamon Johnson, according to a source. Another one of my practice squad guys. Sean Clifford officially cut. Andy Herman saying keep an eye on Titans' James Proche, who was just released. Another punt return option. Teron Davenport says, very surprised the Titans released James Proche. He was one of the better performers in camp, seemed to have a spot as a returner, even though punt return, kick return is a spot the team would ideally like Chimere Dike to take over. Broncos waive Courtney Jackson. It's another punt return option via Basara. Look at that. Bears already releasing defensive lineman Zach Pickens. That was a 2023 third-round pick. He's already out the door. Not super bueno. Packers did release Kadeem Telford. That was another one I was kind of on the fence about. Just not really enough spaces, but he should be on the practice squad. Be pretty upsetting if he's not. Bears' fourth-round pick in 2023 has been waived. Not a very good draft class that was. Tyler Scott. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift announced their engagement. Well, time to retire, Travis. You got more important things to focus on. Am I right, guys? I wish you the absolute best, not helping the Chiefs. Okay? Otherwise, all the happiness in the world. So does Taylor Swift become Taylor Kelce? That's the complicating factor about that. When you are a billion-dollar brand, it's hard to just throw away Swift and become Kelce. Even if it's hyphenated, is it Taylor Kelce Swift and we just don't really talk about the Kelce part? I don't think I would marry somebody that refused to take my name. However, if it was somebody like Taylor Swift, shut up, we're just talking hypothetical, it's hard to argue that, yeah, you should throw away that whole brand thing. You still got to do it, but I understand why it sucks. Deuce Vaughn waived by the Cowboys. According to Alec, writer over at Packer Report, must have seen something on Instagram, says Packers wide receiver now turned cornerback Bo Melton has made the 53-man roster per source. Presumably the source is Instagram. Just a guess. All right, so we ended up getting that one right. That's another unsure that gets locked in. The remaining Reed, Wicks, Savion, all those are going to make it, but I just, just on the outside chance of any kind of an injury designation. Fitzpatrick and Sims. Fitzpatrick's pretty much a lock. We'll see about Sims. Aaron Banks just kind of waiting an injury designation. Brinson and Stackhouse. Barron Sorrell, again, more of an injury thing. Hopper, Welch, Kalen King, Zane Anderson, and Katan Oladapo. Guys that have not been waived with an outside chance. Well, not outside. Jacob Monk is on my cut list. He very likely could make it. Haddon is a guy that could make it. I had him on my cut list. Mosby could make it. Ballantyne could make it. Micah Robinson could be a surprise to make it. No calls on those yet. I don't think Donovan Jennings really has much of a shot. Omar Brown, maybe, depending on his health. So those are the guys I'm kind of waiting on. Why don't we take a break here? We'll come back, get to the bottom of all this good stuff that's going on. Packers released Jared Bartlett. Bears head coach, speaking to the media, says they're going to carry 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, meaning Case Keenum stays put. All right. Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson, by the way, who's dealing with an injury, unsure about week 1, but they're hoping to have him for that game. Again, I'm kind of rooting for the Bears week 1, strangely, but I don't know if that's the right thing to do. We'll see how it goes. Either way, win-win. Corey Ballantyne was released, and I kind of got ahead of him. I took a little break here, and I did notice Kalen King got released. I was kind of worried about that. I had mentioned I wasn't so sure. I wonder, I do think, remember, the way that I got around choosing which one stays and which one goes is between Kalen King and Bo Melton was saying they both get to stay, and we'll just call Bullard a safety. It may be something else, but at this point, I'm moving King down to the practice squad and Bullard over to corner, which I think is what he was anyways. I know the Packers list him as a safety, but again, that was the whole reason that I said one of them has to go. And I was really torn which one was going to stay and which one was going to go, and the whole Bullard thing was a little cop-out. So the biggest thing now is I would have to get somebody off my practice squad. But we'll just leave it as it is for now. I got Kalen King wrong. We'll make that red. Trey Hill and Kalen King so far. Trey Hill, I mean, let's be honest. I knew that was going to be wrong, but low risk, high reward, Ballantyne was on my practice squad. We'll see if he ends up getting re-signed there. Tom Silverstein says, Packers are leaning toward putting running back Marshawn Lloyd on injured reserve, which would give him 4 games to recover from his current hamstring injury. There are still balls in the air, however, but it's like a likely scenario. So that's the other thing. They don't have an official 53. They're working through things, but they're also freaking working the phones, seeing other guys, watching who's getting released, kind of doing things slowly, methodically, one at a time, see how things go. According to a source, Packers plan on keeping 6 cornerbacks, which means Kalen King and Kamal Haddon would both make it. The day isn't over, but they are making sure they have depth with Nate Hobbs still recovering from knee surgery. This is prior to the Kalen King report, so I'm interested to see how this all pans out. It would be 5 by my count with Bullard, if they're including Bullard in that 6. So that makes it interesting with Haddon possibly making it. I like Haddon, but over King frustrates me. Oh, Micah Robinson as well. Again, why is he the most overlooked player in the history of the world? He was a 7th-round pick, just like Kalen King. Kalen King is talked about nonstop since the second we drafted him. I have not heard a single word about Micah Robinson. Hilariously, everybody's like, oh, there's going to be 6, so watch out for these 2. Oh, and I forgot about that guy. Why is he the most forgotten man in the world? Now I want him to make it. I hope he's the guy. And there's the Kalen King news via Matt Schneidman. Schneidman says Packers want King back on the practice squad, but he'll have to clear waivers. Well, that's good at least. They're not saying there's nothing here, we're just going to let him go. They're saying that we really like him, but we've got other guys that are ahead of him. I am very interested to see who makes it ahead of him, especially if it's Micah Robinson, because again, 7th round pick, nobody's really talking about the guy, but if they see that much in him, that would be exciting. It's probably not, but that would be pretty cool. Boss makes the point that the Packers likely don't value the nickel corner number 3. That would be Kalen King. You've already got Bullard and you've got Hobbs. Hell, even Nixon would see snaps at nickel over him. Now, you'd have to kind of sort that out in terms of if Hobbs and Nixon are boundary guys primarily, Bullard would be your slot. Presumably, King would be your backup slot. Although, in that scenario, they would move Hobbs in and Valentine outside, if that isn't already the thing. But either way, the math works out the same. He would end up being kind of the, after that injury, if Hobbs went inside, then King would be that third nickel corner. So it does work out that way anyways with the math. Packers released Jonathan Baldwin. That was a pretty easy one, but we're on DB watch, so you never know. Saints have named Spencer Rattler their starting quarterback. That is a rough situation. My goodness. They are just straight up tanking for that number 1 spot. Saints have earned it, man. They've been through hell. Just give them the number 1, will you? Whew. They are tanking for somebody. Panthers released Hunter Renfrow. There you go, Minnesota. Close enough. Go get him. Seahawks releasing Marquez Valdez-Scantling, so he's going to have to find his, 1, 2... Where did he go after the Chiefs? Was it straight to the Seahawks? I don't know. Got to find a home. I would say bring him back for the speed, but it never really translated anyway. Something weird about the way he runs his routes. Undrafted rookie defensive lineman Nazir Stackhouse is expected to be part of the Packers' 53-man roster, sources tell CBS Sports. Let's go. Felt pretty good about that one from the start, just based on the positional aspect of it. Now we just have to wait and see about Warren Brinson. By the way, that continues the streak of undrafted rookies making the initial 53-man roster to 20 years. Holy cow. He was the last one left, too. If he had not made it, that would have broken a 20-year streak. What a fantastic streak that is. And it becomes sort of a positive feedback loop for the Packers because a lot of really talented UDFAs want to go to Green Bay because they know they have a shot. And being that they get really talented UDFAs, like Nazir Stackhouse, who chose to go to Green Bay, presumably had a lot of people wanting him, it makes it easier to continue the streak. Browns officially placed Deshaun Watson on the PUP list. That dude he got his massive paycheck while his life was falling apart because of all the other stuff going on and just said, I'm not playing football anymore. I got my money and I'm just going to ride out this stupid contract and I'm leaving and I'm never coming back. And there we have it, somebody that needs to be looked into a little bit more. And that is Mr. Micah Robinson, who officially has made the 53-man roster. Again, that's a big my bad here. Spent a lot of time talking about Kalen King, the 7th-round pick, and have completely ignored rookie Micah Robinson, who is officially on the 53. So looking forward to going back, kind of pouring through the notes a little bit on Micah Robinson and seeing what I can find. But that is the first official incorrect on the 53. But happy for Micah Robinson. Bears media and fans having a bit of a panic attack about the running back position. Apparently, they had their last practice today, and Courtney Cronin says there was literally no other running backs out there outside of Swift. It was a one-man show. Ben Johnson was right to be concerned about their depth right now at running back. We got Brenton Cox made the list. I already kind of penciled him in as a lock, so... Well, it's officially 3 o'clock, so the Packers do have a 53 submitted. We just don't know all the details yet. Oladapo made the 53. We got that one. That was one of the not quite 100%ers. Super happy for him. It's pretty hilarious. The Bears go and do a practice. They get back from practice, and then the Bears just release everything. Like, here's the entire list. We've been dinking and dunking through this all day. Hoping we get that from the Packers pretty soon. Wendell Ferreira says, as always, the Packers will be the last team to release the official 53-man roster. Bill Huber says 3 p.m. has come and gone and Donovan Jennings is on the 53. I hate how some of these things get phrased. It sounds like he's saying hasn't like we haven't gotten any news that he's been cut. I mean, we haven't had anything about Monk or Haddon, Omar Brown, Kawan Baker. Like, there's a lot of guys that we haven't heard about yet. Mosby. Doesn't mean they're on the team, but I think he's saying that he is. Because he said is on the 53. So I'm going to move him up there, I guess. Maybe that's in place of Monk. We'll see. Assuming that is correct, that makes 2 on the 53 I did not have. Now, again, sometimes guys get slipped on there and then they get taken off to move some stuff around and all this weird stuff, but that's where we're at right now. Huber confirming Micah Robinson and Warren Brinson, 2 late-round picks made the team. So we'll add Warren Brinson. Not add him, he's already on there, but we'll confirm that. So far with Micah and Donovan Jennings, I'm still at 53 with the rest of the guys that I had making it. But it sounds like Kamal Haddon might make the 53. I haven't seen anything confirmed. It was a speculation before, which would mean somebody else would have to come off. It could be Baron Sorrell, Ben Sims, Savion. Couldn't really be Zane unless, I guess we could put Bullard back over there, and then it could be. But I'll tell you what, let's take a break here. When we come back, I'll wait until the official 53 is dropped, and we'll round out the last of this. So be right back. A little bit more Bears news / NFL draft news for those that were watching that. Ryan Poles said rookie cornerback Za Frazier will miss the 2025 season. The personal issue he's dealing with is something the Bears discovered after he was drafted and is something that stems from before he got to Chicago. That's really weird because I guess he's going to be with the team all year. He's just not going to play. Either Jaden Reed or Dontavian Wicks were put on short-term IR as of now, it says. Falcons right tackle Caleb McGarry will miss the entire 2025 season with a leg injury. Wow. That's pretty big news. Former first-round pick Cole Strange was released by the Patriots. That was always a strange pick to begin with. Ayuk and Malik Mustafa will be placed on PUP. Cardinals first-round pick and coveted Green Bay Packers draft pick Walter Nolan being placed on PUP. Some interesting news here. On a day usually reserved for cutdowns, we send a big congratulations to Packers long snapper Matt Orzech on signing a 3-year extension. Well-deserved. Huh. Fair enough. Still don't have the list, but there's that. All right, 53 is here. Marshawn Lloyd and Jacob Monk placed on IR with designations to return. So there's your 2 IR slots. Christian Welch and Isaiah Simmons released, so Welch did not make the cut. Presumably an automatic practice squad guy. So they are just going with 4 linebackers, so that answers that question. So let's run through and see what we've got here, and we'll lock these in. Quarterback Jordan and Malik, running back Jacobs, Wilson, and Brooks with Lloyd designated to return. Wide receivers Dobbs, Reed, Wicks, Golden, Heath, and Savion. So far we're on it. Tight ends, yep, it was Ben Sims, so I got that right too. O-line is Elton Banks, so we'll lock him in. There's no injury designation, which is fantastic news. Doesn't mean he's going to be healthy week 1, or he could be unhealthy through 4 weeks. We don't know, but they don't believe that as of this time. Jenkins, Banks, Tom Walker, Ryan Morgan, Belton, Kennard, and Donovan Jennings was the one addition that I had gotten wrong. Moving on to defensive line, Baron Sorrell did make it, so I got that one as well. So it's Gary, Van Ness, Inigbare, Cox, and Sorrell. Linebackers, Quay, Cooper, McDuffie, and Hopper. Corners, yep, Haddon did make it, so we'll add Haddon. That would be the 3rd guy that's on here, 2 of which are corners that I did not have. So it is going to be Hobbs, Nixon, Valentine, Melton, Haddon, and Micah Robinson. And I don't know if it matters, but they do list Kamal Haddon in front of Micah Robinson. And then the safeties are McKinney, Williams, Bullard, Zane Anderson, and Keaton Oladapo. So we'll put Bullard back in the safety spot where I had him now that we've got all these guys. And then, I got all the safeties correct as well. And then our specialists, McManus, Daniel Whalen, and Matt Orzech. This is probably the best 53 I've done. It might be the best that most people have done because it's pretty straightforward. But really just got 3 wrong, I guess you could depending on how you want to count it. If I'm highlighting the 53, there's 3 guys on here that are red. Necessarily would mean that there's 3 that were off. So you can call it 6 wrong if you want to call it 3 wrong. I don't care. The question then is going to be, and again, there may be some shuffling still, but I currently have 18, so somebody has to come off of this list because I added Kalen King and Christian Welch to the practice squad, so somebody would have to get dropped off. McNamee is a lock. That's a free spot. That's the reason we get to 17 instead of 16. Obviously, there's going to be a quarterback. I'm going Elgersma. We'll see. Possibilities. And actually, I don't even have Trey Hill in that list. So if I moved Trey Hill up in there, I'd have to drop 2. Certainly, one of the 3 wide receivers would make sense to come down. Maybe a Banacanda because they already have Amar Johnson. We'll see. Question mark with Mosby as well for reasons that I've already mentioned as far as, when you make the team and then you don't make the team, sometimes it's just circumstance and sometimes it's, you didn't do enough and so we're going to move on kind of a thing. Andy Herman did say, don't be surprised if Zane and Sorrell get IRDR tomorrow and Mosby and Welch are back. That's kind of what, it could be a lot of different things, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. Now what is squealing? Kind of what I'm talking about in terms of, you never know what kind of weird stuff could happen. Omar Brown is season-ending IR, I guess, so that was kind of my concern with him was the injury situation. All right, well, I don't know how long it's going to take to put all this together, so I think I'm just going to leave it at that for today. We've got our official team going into the 2025 season with some minor tweaks potentially coming in the future. Just as a reminder, we're leaving tomorrow for a little mini vacation. Probably won't get back until late on Sunday. So I wouldn't expect a podcast until Packernet After Dark Monday. So Clayton will continue to hold it down for us here. Feel free to keep the calls coming in as thoughts arise, and we'll address it when the time comes. I'll still be around. I'll be on social media and whatnot, but just not going to be recording the podcast while I'm away. So I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.